Stay tuned.
Best city you listened to, and was it good or bad?
It was great. It was Nohavice. It's a Czech Welt guy.
Okay, what was it again?
Nohavice.
Okay.
Jaromir Nohavice. He's actually like the Czech Bob Dylan. He's one of my heroes. I just got a new CD from my uncle, and we were just listening to it in the RV last night.
Okay. What was the last movie you've seen, and was it good or bad?
Shit. Lady in the Water, because there was nothing else to see, and I was stuck in Houston by myself, so I just went to see Lady in the Water, and it was terrible.
That's what I've been hearing.
Absolutely terrible.
Favorite song you've written?
Oh, man. Probably released or written?
Written. What's personally the best, your favorite song, I guess?
I mean, it changes all the time, but I think If When We Rise Again is probably my favorite of our songs, which is ironic because it never really goes over that well with the crowd, and certain guys in the band don't like it that much, but I think it's pretty much the best song we have, but we never really play it anymore, so.
Okay. What's your favorite food stop on the road?
You mean like fast food?
Any food, anywhere you've stopped that you love to stop on tour.
I like Middle Eastern food, and we were in St. Louis, we were in Kansas City the other day, and there was an awesome little Middle Eastern cafe, and I just got a bunch of hummus and baba ganoush and whatnot. So that's the kind of stuff I'm into. I mean, obviously, every other day we have to eat McDonald's or Arby's or Burger King, which,
Which is the lesser of those evils?
Oh, the lesser of those evils? I'd say Chick-fil-A and Arby's. Okay. Oh, and Chipotle. Chipotle's like my favorite.
Okay, if you guys got stranded in the mountains, who would be the first one to get eaten?
Transitioning with the food.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of how to answer this without being mean. Jeff Smith, our merch guy, maybe? He's gonna kill me.
Okay, if you guys were playing dodgeball, who would be the last one picked?
Jeff Smith, I guess? No, I'm kidding. No, the last one picked would probably be... Oh, this is mean. You're making me be mean. I don't know. Jeff Smith. Let's just go with Jeff Smith. Jeff, I love you. I'm sorry.
Guess that way you only anger one person.
Yeah, totally.
Favorite city?
Jeff Smith.
Okay.
Favorite city in America or...
Anywhere other than your hometown.
Yeah. Shit. Austin, maybe? Oh, no. I'm sorry. Savannah. By far, Savannah.
Okay, and worst show you've ever played?
Not with Streetlight or with any band?
That you played.
With Catch 22. I'm sure they still all remember this. It was in the middle of nowhere on Staten Island, and it was for a record. We were trying to get a record deal with a local record label, which was run by a 7-foot tall transvestite rude boy girl type dude, and he or she invited us out to this seedy bar in the middle of Staten Island, which can be a shithole. Areas of it are quite shady, and we played to him or her and two other drunken patrons, and it was we played at 1 a.m. on a stage that was probably 4 feet in every direction, and it was brutal. And we didn't get signed, by the way.
This is Top Welt, the only podcast worth ever listening to. My name is Bill Jones, my co-host.
Hi, this is Kevin.
And our special guest on this episode is Thomas from Streetlight Manifesto.
Hello, how are you doing?
So, to begin, how'd the tour come about with Real Big Fish and MXPX, and how's it been going so far?
Well, with Real Big Fish, we've been planning on doing something with them for a while now, and I guess it was kind of inevitable, just because there's so few bands that make our kind of music nowadays, and because we have some mutual higher-ups, so they finally put us together. MXPX, they got added to the tour. I don't know how that worked out or whatever. It has nothing to do with us, but so it just kind of, I guess it was inevitable for a while now.
Okay. So. And obviously, you kind of mentioned your kind of music nowadays and not being too much of it. Besides this tour, what's it like being a ska band in today's music scene?
We try not to think about it too much. Obviously, you're going to be labeled one way or another. We don't really look at ourselves as a ska band. There's so many influences in our music and in our daily lives. We don't wake up and skank to the bathroom and listen to Desmond Decker all day or anything. It's pretty much something a few of us grew up with, and kind of I don't want to say that, but we don't really listen to ska that much anymore. So we're not running around with checkerboard pants and whatnot. We're not trying to be part of some genre or whatever. We do what we do, and there's a lot of ska influence.
Okay.
There's been a few robberies in your past.
Yeah.
Within the last year. How hard has it been recovering instruments and?
Well, there's been ups and downs, but at this point we're pretty much back at full capacity. We got our stuff back.
Has it been discouraging or?
Yes and no. I mean, it was obviously at first, but we had a lot of people supporting us and a lot of people helping out, and eventually we just got back on the road. We got back on the road like a week later actually, and then got robbed again subsequently 3 weeks later. But we just kind of stuck to it, and our fans really helped us out, and we just kind of stuck with it, and everything kind of leveled off, and now we have equipment again, and we don't have to buy stuff from Guitar Center and return it after tours anymore.
Obviously, there's a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it controversy surrounding the re-recording, re-release of Keith
Here we go.
Well, no, I mean, you address it at the end of 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you don't probably have to answer questions in interviews about it, but, I mean, the way you explained it is you were uneasy about doing it to begin with,
of course,
and then you give the reasoning for doing it. But now that it's out, are you still uneasy about the album at all? Or?
We've kind of approached this as like an abused child, I guess. We kind of just not that we're abused or children by any means, but we kind of just blocked it out. To this day, we haven't. We didn't announce the release on our website. We don't sell it at shows. We don't push the record at all. Which is good, because Victor doesn't push anything we do anyway. You might want to edit that out. Or not, I don't care. But, so we kind of, it's not something we're particularly proud of. I mean, musically we're proud of it, but, it's not our record. And, we weren't super psyched to do it in the first place, so it was just something that kind of had to be done. It was the lesser of two evils, really. And we chose what we thought was the right choice out of the two shitty choices.
You can
all right. Out of the two shitty choices, we chose what we thought was the right decision, and it came out. But we're not going to run around holding up a Case B Nights flag and screaming at for everyone to buy our new record, because it's not our new record. We've only put out one record so far.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm still a little like, why'd you guys do it? Like, whose idea was it to do it?
I don't want to I don't want to implicate anyone or whatever.
Okay.
It wasn't our idea to start the whole process. I've already said too much on it in other interviews, and
okay.
I don't want to.
We're not, by all means, we're not trying to pin you down on that.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, at first I don't like doing interviews in general because I end up talking too much, and I think we're a band that's best left to the music, the show. That's it. And every time I open my mouth, I get in trouble or I say too much and whatnot. So I've already said too much in other interviews about this. So I really don't want to get into it that much. But it's something that we want to move on from already, and just work on our next record, put our next record out, etc., etc.
Okay.
Have you heard with the Hawthorne Heights situation with Victory?
Yeah, it's awesome.
What are your thoughts on it? I mean,
once again, without
Yeah,
I always, like I said, I say too much usually. I'm fascinated by the whole thing. I guess I can say that without getting in too much trouble. I'm fascinated by it. Some of it rings true. Some of it feels familiar. Other things don't feel familiar. From what I understand, they kind of took it for a long time and then kind of snapped, whereas we're in a different situation where we're not in the mainstream, whether it's on Victory or in the grand scheme of things, we're not in the mainstream, so we don't have to really make compromises, so we haven't been making compromises with Victory or the media or whatever, and Hawthorne Heights finally decided to say something that's good for them. We would never let it get that far. You know what I mean? Like we're too much assholes.
I know
we're too straightforward to sit and get raped, while being promised something and then eventually snap. We snap instantly.
Okay. I know you mentioned something when you guys went on the European tour that you weren't receiving label support, but that you kind of fixed everything after that. There was something up in one of the news posts or
there's always ups and downs. I think I have nothing against Victory. I think every record label, almost every band is unhappy with the label they're on. It's rare that you find someone that's really happy, and that's just the nature of the beast, because every band feels they deserve more than they're getting, and the label has to make certain decisions and spread out their their money or their support, and I understand that. But yeah, from day one, this band has been very, very minimal in asking for anything from anyone, including the record label, and coincidentally, we've also gotten very little from anyone, including the record label, and we've been fine with that because we know that, we don't have a boss or anything, but what we do have is paid for by us. Almost everything we have is paid for by us. We get a little bit of tour support every once in a while, but not like some of these other bands, And, it sounds cliche, but at the end of the day, it feels good, to know that everything we do is not because of someone, but sometimes in spite of someone or something. And, it's ours. Everything we do is ours.
Okay. I guess switching gears a little bit then, out of that kind of stuff. You originally left Catch-22 to go to an art and design college.
Yeah.
Was that strictly for music, or did you have other artistic interests?
What do you mean, was that strictly?
Was the art and design school, did that also include music, or did you actually go there for art?
No, I went there for art.
Okay.
I was an artist before a musician, so that's always going to be my true love. And, it's very simplistic to say, that's also a very PC way of explaining things. I didn't just leave for school. I left for a lot of other reasons.
Okay.
When you're 18 years old, and things start coming at you fast and whatnot, you kind of you're not capable of handling it sometimes, and I just wanted to get away from everything and what I thought was happening. So I left. I did a lot of traveling and stuff, which ironically people say, like, why would you do that? You were on tour all the time. Tour and travel are two completely different beasts. So when you tour hard enough, if you guys are familiar, you show up, sound check, you sit backstage, you wait, you play, and then you drive to the next town. So I wanted to actually see things in life, and then also go to school and get some sort of degree, keep my parents appeased. So,
are you happy that you're doing this now? Did that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it totally gave me a nice buffer of like a few years to grow up and realize what I wanted in the world, in life and whatnot, and how to approach being in a band and keeping your sanity if you're an anal retentive weirdo artist without like I said, with the thing with Catch-22 is we were kids, and I felt like we weren't capable of handling things and like fighting those people we have to fight to get what we want done, if that makes any sense. Okay. So, yeah.
You mentioned you were working on new material. Do you have any idea, like, when next Streetlight City?
Yeah, about a year and a half ago, I think it was supposed to originally come out. Yeah, that's also another point of contention with everyone. It's just, there's deadlines set up, and the label sets up deadlines. We set up deadlines for ourselves. We always plan on starting recording, and then we start, then we stop, and whatnot. And it's, the one thing I can say to everyone who's getting frustrated is that it's not like making a cake. And, if I could apologize for it, I would, but that's just, it's out of everyone's control. The music is, it's not, some bands go into a studio for a month and a half, and they can put out a record, but that's not how we work. Caseby Nights was a culmination of my high school years writing, and then, we finished high school and put out Caseby Nights. Numb I was working on during college on the side whenever I felt like working on it, the songwriting and whatnot, laying out the songs, and then it came out when it was ready. And now we're in a weird position where we've been touring so much, and I haven't really had time to sit and do the process as I usually do it in the past. Not that songs aren't written yet, because most of the record is done finally for the most part. It just has to be put together and recorded now. But yeah, we've gotten a lot of flack from a lot of different camps about taking forever, but we're not gonna rush it to appease anyone's schedule, whether it be the label or, quite frankly, demanding fans. We're sorry, we just can't put out something in good conscience that is not to our specifications, and hopefully it'll pay off in the end, and the kids will appreciate it, and the higher ups, whatever, cares about them.
Have you heard? Have fans been speaking out about this? I don't know if you look at message boards or something and see we're pissed there's not a new Streetlight album yet.
I hear it every once in a while from the guys in the band. I have a personal rule where I don't read reviews, I don't read interviews, I try not to do interviews. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. You called me 40 times, so.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. There's only there's a threshold. I can avoid someone, and then I feel bad. So.
Excellent. I crossed the threshold.
You crossed the threshold. Yeah. I just don't. I can't stress enough how strongly I feel about the fact that we're a band. We get on stage and we love what we do. We make music, but the whole cult of personality thing and interview thing, like, I don't really subscribe to it in the grand scheme of things. Like, all my favorite bands, I really don't have an interest in the people in them. I just want to hear the music and then, you know, interpret it how I interpret it without being tainted by what they say and whatnot. But, you know, I guess it comes with the territory, so, you know.
Just want to help you get information out.
No, yeah, totally.
Speaking of which, I read something before that, like, the new album might include, like, some more Eastern European sounds, like gypsy sounds and stuff.
Yeah, well, no more than, I mean, I guess more than Numb, but the only way I could describe things as they're coming together now is the new record will be to Numb what Numb was to Caseby. So, you know, Caseby being frustrated high school student and more simple songs, simple songwriting, more conventional A-B pattern type stuff, where Numb got a little nuttier, a little more influences from, you know, childhood and from other things that you kind of suppress when you're in high school because you're too cool to, you know, to use your childhood influences and the things you grew up listening to. But yeah, so this new record is going to have more, I guess, world influence, more a few different sounds instead of just like the, you know, normally when you go into a studio you mic up the guitar cabinet and then you record the whole record. You mic up the bass and you record, you know, you set up the bass and you record the whole record and then the horns come in, yada yada. Whereas this time we're going to approach each song individually and just try to get different sounds for everything, like according to what the song demands, I guess. So, and that's why it's taking so long as well.
Okay. Also, I mean, what are some of your influences? What would you cite as some of your influences?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, it's like everyone, but the influences that I have that are probably different from most the contemporaries of our contemporaries are Eastern European folk and whatnot. A lot of gypsy music. We grew up listening to that. We immigrated from the Czech Republic when we were 5. When my brother and I were 5 and 6, and so we kind of grew up in a Czech household. You know, we listened to a lot of different stuff during lunch and whatnot. And around the house, you know, there was always some sort of ethnic music going on and whatnot. And that's, you know, like I said, now that you're old, when you're older, things start seeping in more. You're not trying to be a punk rock band anymore like we were when we were, you know, writing Caseby back in the day. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of embracing like the early influences that I grew up with.
Okay. Maybe this kind of ties into your, like, wanting it to be about the music and the shows and not so much like personalities of the band, but it's just like you guys always kind of seem to be in hiding, don't really have a real website or anything, and is that just kind of all part of that?
Yeah, that is part of it. We made a decision early on to see how far we can get without any of the frills that other bands put up, because, I mean, you know, everyone can do what they want, but sometimes when I go to like a band's website and I read their bio, it's just nauseating. It's the most arrogant, self-flating bullshit, you know, and every band is like, you know, the coming of Jesus, you know what I mean? And then you listen to the band, or you know of the band, and they don't do anything. They, you know, they're just another, whatever, Taking Back Sunday ripoff, or another, you know, whatever clone, you know, whatever's big at the time, you know. And I don't want to name names, but like I have one in my head in particular that it's just, I read it and then I saw the band live and then I realized that, like, you know, all of it's bullshit. Like all the frills, all like the PR and the press that the label puts out and the stickers on the fronts of the CDs, it's all like lies to get you to buy something. Whereas we'd rather win people over with what we do, whether it's the actual CD, or the live show. And I know, and I've been schooled a million times by label people who are like, well, you need to get it to them somehow. And I agree with that, but there's, you know, I guess there's more honest ways of doing it, you know, like touring, which is what we've been doing a lot, you know, and just word of mouth and whatnot, you know, people who actually like your music recommending it to other people as opposed to the label cutting out excerpts of an interview or some magazine that reviewed you and how great you are and comparing you to whatever is cool to, like, get the kids to check you out, you know. So yeah, and then the website, we want to get a proper website going and whatnot, but, you know, it just has, you know, we try to do everything ourselves, so it hasn't happened yet because of all the touring and all the stuff we're working on all the time.
A lot of, like, the bios and what you're talking about, I mean, do you consider that the fault of the band or the marketing of the label, or if the band goes along with it, it's kind of the band's
Well, no, I mean, I'm not trying to vilify anyone or judge anyone. It's just I don't want that for us, because when I read other bands' bios, like I said, I'm nauseous. You know, it's ridiculous. Or other bands that have a tendency of rewriting history and erasing members' histories from their bios. Not naming names, just it's just silly. It's, if you're going to write a bio, you might as well be truthful.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's usually like the marketing people and a lot of bands that get together, and once they start becoming successful, they get a team around them of, they get a manager, a tour manager, publicist and whatnot, and we've never done that, and we don't really plan on ever doing that, and I think it's those people that bring that element in, and yeah, I guess the band, for being complacent, is guilty in a way, and once again, I sound like I'm judging, but it's just something we don't want for ourselves. We don't want to get involved with that. We'd rather keep it simple.
You want to?
Are we picking up?
Just if you want to go down to the Bandits one.
Oh, okay. Are you still working on material for Bandits of the Acoustic Revolution? And
definitely. Bandits isn't on the label, and it probably never will be, and that's what's good about it, but that's also what's terrible about it, because whereas with Streetlight there are some sort of not deadlines, but times when we should start doing certain things, whereas Botars, it was just like a pet project that I kind of threw together a few years ago, and I've been meaning on recording some more stuff soon, but there's so many other things to do, and there's no one really pushing for it to get done, so it's always kind of on the back burner in terms of finishing anything. In terms of songwriting, there's probably 30 Botar songs waiting to get fleshed out or whatever. And yeah, hopefully after this Streetlight record's done, in the meantime, before it comes out, while the label's doing their promotional thing and whatnot, we'll get some Botar done, and because it's quicker because there's no label, so hopefully we can. The plan is to release them at the same time, a Botar and a Streetlight, because they're going to be very related this time around. So that's the plan, but that's been the plan for the last 4 years, and apparently it hasn't been working out. So.
Just getting it done right.
Yeah, well, getting it done slowly, and yeah, just enjoying life too. You know what I mean? Just I tend to be a workaholic sometimes, and I've been constantly trying to step back recently and just slow down. Because 10 years from now, the only thing that's going to matter really is the music that got put out. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure that's the best it can be.
Okay.
Is Kevin Smith's representation of Jersey accurate?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure a part of Jersey, but it's not. Should I ask them to be quiet or something?
Where are they?
They're right there. I can hold on.
No, I think we should be fine.
Okay, cool. I just if it's bleeding or whatever. But no, not really. I mean, certain parts of Jersey, yeah, and certain elements of his movies, yes. But I mean, it's whatever microcosm you grow up in. So I didn't really grow up in that microcosm, so not really.
Okay, cool. Thank you.